Alright, so game 3 looks like quite a slugfest. We've got both guys hitting over 70 points, 19 and 20 turns. Ooh, possession colony board. This looks like quite an exciting game. This is a board where your strategy is really, I think, going to depend on how your opponent's playing. Bishop trashes. Alchemist is extremely strong. I'm just looking if there's very little in the way of trashing. So I could see myself starting this game off I could honestly see myself starting Workshop Potion here and trying to build up a quick Alchemist Conspirator deck. You're going to need to pick up a market or two to get plus buys. The problem is possession. It's just so hard to play possession boards. Like, so many people hate the card, but in actuality it makes the game so complex to play, which is sort of admirable in a card. Because, like, all of a sudden you realize that possession's there and building your great, awesome deck becomes less appealing. The bonus of building this deck with possession on the board is that you get to buy like 2 possessions and play both of them each turn. Is that true? Native Village gives you plus actions. So yeah, I'd probably try to build an Alchemist Conspirator deck based off a Workshop Potion opening, eventually trying to transition into possession, so I was playing a couple of possessions a turn and just getting my deck really big, winning by colonies. That'd be my plan. If I could pick up a transmute early to get rid of estates, that would be pretty sweet. And obviously a bishop early is also quite desirable, although I don't know about bishop versus potion to begin with. The problem is that early game there's so little to do with non-potion buys, which are less than 5. Like, you want 1 workshop, and you do want a conspirators eventually, but not straight away. Native villages you don't want a ton of in your deck. So picking up the potion early, I think, is really desirable, whereas the bishop is going to be giving you a lot of buy phases where you can't do much. I don't know though. And they open 5-2 anyway, so everything I just said doesn't matter. I think with a 5-2 I would open potion native village. I don't think market is any good at all at the beginning of this game. You will want to market around about turn 6 or 7, but I really think market is a poor card to begin with on this board, and potion is extremely important. It grabs you transmute, which is great early game, and alchemist. Oh, and there's Haven as well. See, I would be buying Native Village over Haven. I'm a bigger fan of Native Village than most. Haven's a very strong card. I don't think Haven fits with the deck you're building, though, is the only problem. Sty does pick up the workshop, which I love. And RC Cola, like, neither of them has bought a potion yet. You have to do that. RC Cole is just getting stuck with 2 coppers a ton, which is really unfortunate on this board. And Sty gets a potion, which is good. RC Cole gets a potion, also good. At this point, I'd already probably be looking to pick up conspirators rather than silvers. You don't want silver in your endgame deck, so it's just a wasted buy. Like, it gets you places in the mid game, but then in the late game it's just a liability and it's weakening your deck. I'm not sure that what it does for you immediately is worth the weakening of your end game. I think even buying a second potion here on turn 6 over the bishop, although the bishop is definitely necessary too. I guess I like the bishop. Does RC Cola have a workshop? He does. I think I would lean more towards potion then, because workshop is already a terminal action. Although you have native villages, I don't know. But gain a conspirator with workshop. Workshopping for a $2 card just way too fancy for your own good. Conspirator is really good, by the way. Like, even you can buy it on turn 1. It's a very solid card. And see, Stai's buying a possession on turn 8, which is great, and of course I would buy a possession with $6 and a potion too. The problem is if you look at what he's bought so far, you got Bishop, Potion, Silver, Workshop, double Native Village, and still 7 coppers in the deck, which obviously you can try and get rid of the coppers, but so many cards that are not cantripping and are just coming up the deck, they're really weakening the early possession. So I would have preferred to see more early cards that were cantripping somehow. I guess the silver is maybe the only one that I didn't like. Maybe I do like Haven over Native Village. Looking at it now, you don't need a lot of native villages. Maybe the Haven's just so much better early game that you pick up the native village later. I don't know. Do not know. RC Cola has another potion, which I like, since this is an Alchemist board, although we've somehow gotten to turn 9 with neither of them buying an Alchemist. Sort of being a freak of the shuffler. I can definitely understand buying the market over the potion turn 1, and since then there just hasn't been, it hasn't lined up. But RC Cola finally gets the first Alchemist on the game on turn 9. Stai gets off of possession, buys another native village. I don't know, you don't need that many plus actions here. You need to get your deck cycling, so I think if all you have is $2, which it looks like is the case. Yeah, I think Haven at this point is definitely better. Getting a market seems totally fine. I don't think you need 3 potions. That's if you buy a 3rd potion, that's an extremely grim outlook on your deck. Like, the reason to have multiple potions, well, there are 2 reasons. One is that it gives you the chance to buy alchemists more often, and the other reason is that it makes it more likely that the alchemists stay in your hand, because if you have a potion in play, the alchemists go back to the top of your deck. The problem is if you're buying alchemists, you're meant to be making your deck flip. Like, you should only need 1 potion because you draw your entire deck every turn. So I think probably prioritizing getting the deck flipping over buying more potions, which makes it harder to flip the deck. Yeah, might make more sense. It's sort of hard to commentate on these games because I'm not playing them. I don't have a great feel for exactly what's happening. I can look at the number of cards in each deck and get a fairly good idea, but it's really not how I usually analyze a game of Dominion, so I'm not sure that I'm getting the stuff I'm saying completely right. think I'm probably mostly right. I love this double alchemist buy over a possession. I think that's excellent. You do want to pick up the possessions eventually, but it makes so much sense to get your deck cycling first, because, you know, that makes the possessions get played more often.
So Sty grabs an alchemist on his possession turn. Didn't manage to buy anything on his first turn. Alchemist and a bishop. Does that make sense? I think probably at that point by possession. Like, that's your second bishop? Yeah, it's your second bishop. I don't know, like, bishops help you thin your deck, but if you have two of them, they're also two bishops that are in your deck. I'm going to sort of speed it up because it's a long game and big turns. So it looks like Sty is getting an alchemist. Getting a transmute, I love that. That makes a lot of sense. Although it would have made more sense like on turn 4. And then you could have got some golds early game, which would be great. Wow, it's a beast of a turn. I guess buying the 3 potions has allowed you to buy 3 alchemists in one turn, so everything I said is clearly ludicrous and incorrect. On the other hand, Sty gets to possess your turns more often than you are casting possession, which is unfortunate. Getting possession yourself makes sense. I'm noticing now that I'm like commentating these games as if I'm talking to RC Cola. That's because in the thread he told me that he would love feedback on his games, I guess. It's a little subconscious bias I have in the way I'm commentating. Sty, I love you. I like that you're buying a colony. I'm going really fast through this game though because I'm sort of bored of it, so I really have no idea what's going on. I mean, buying colonies can't be wrong, right? You can play more than one possession turn, so I think since you're drawing your deck every turn at this point, I'm assuming probably just buy a possession before you start buying colonies. Get the double possession so you can get 2 of Sty's turns, in which you'll get a colony every turn, or maybe just a province. This is really insane and intense what's going on. Buying a state? Really? Yes. I like that finally we've bought a conspirator. That should have happened a long time ago. Someone has conspirators. Sty has 4 conspirators. That makes a lot of sense. Unfortunately, Cola is the one with all the alchemists. So. On the other hand, at this point, we're in a situation where, like, potentially both of them could be playing 2 possessions a turn, which means potentially you're at a point where you want your deck to be worse than your opponent's, which I guess is what's going on with this estate buy. That actually makes a lot more sense now that I think about it. Like, maybe even don't buy the conspirator and buy more estates. I don't know if you're actually getting your deck to cycle with all those alchemists or not at this point. Must be, right? You're trashing Haven. I don't know. Buying Duchy, makes sense. Colony. Cool. Buying a colony, buying a Duchy. This is all just buying victory point cards. We're sort of in the no longer relevant phase of the game. I wonder if anyone ever played a bishop thinking that they would get the victory point tokens, because you don't. But I had an opponent who was like possessing me twice a turn decide to start playing bishops and giving me like 6 victory points every turn as well. It was a pretty sweet win. My deck could not do anything. I just ended the game on piles with like 40 victory point tokens in one. This looks like such a miserable game trying to make sense of. Okay, so lots of people walk colonies. Die eventually 1. Puts him at 2-1. Dies behind. But have a feeling he'll have a strong game 4. Let's go on to that now.